Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Amplify Your Business. Today, we're going to be talking to Elizabeth Burrow. She is the owner and chief nut lady over at Jewels Under the Kilt. Welcome to the show, Elizabeth.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so delighted to have you here. It is just a wonderful product, and I want to show off a few of the packages. So this is pumpkin pie pecan, and we have this is a cinnamon walnut. And of course, you got the original that I already busted into, some chipotle. You have so many different flavors of packaged nuts. And you were just sharing with me that you are creating some additional flavors right now in the kitchen. So doing a bit of R&D. But first, before we get into that, can you tell me a little bit of the backstory behind Jewels Under the Kilt? And I think the place to start is, where'd you come up with this name? Because it is a playful, delightful name as well.
So the name actually came, I was sitting at my computer and I had the business page written like up where you have to register your business, because I said if you sell in a farmer's market and whatever, you kind of need that anyway, especially when you get outside your county, there's some regulations and stuff. So I needed to register the business name, and we thought like I was getting maple syrup from my father-in-law named Frank. We were going to call it Frank's Nuts. I thought that was a little too much on the side of bad humor. So I was just sitting there, and my husband, who has very good humor, said, I got it. It's going to be Jewels Under the Kilt. And he didn't know, and I typed it in and registered right away. So we live in Fergus. It fits. Fergus is kind of the Scottish capital. But it just goes with the whole position of our company, which over 20 COVID, I really centrified the whole reason for the business. So yeah. We just like to keep it fun.
Yeah, well, totally. And this is, and you seem to be somebody who just loves the fun, from what I can tell already. And so Jewels Under the Kilt, Ferguson, and just so our listeners understand, that's Ferguson. Fergus?
Fergus. Yeah, Fergus, Ontario.
Fergus, Ontario, so that people understand the geography. So a local Canadian company that's doing some really great things, shipping this product all around the world, probably. I got a package from you, which again, really appreciate. And,
no problem.
And so let's get back to the backstory then a little bit more around the why. So why did you start this business to begin with?
Well, we in 2010, my husband decided to take a transfer, more or less, to Guelph for his job. And after living in a tuna can, so to speak, in Toronto, I really wanted something with a bit more space, something where I don't necessarily see a person in their washroom while I'm making dishes. I just wanted a little bit of space. We lucked in on our second or third time out in this area to a 95 plus acre farm.
Oh, beautiful.
With an 1880 stone house. There were a bunch of barns here as well. And the costs and everything and just the environment, we went for it. So my husband was like, okay, that's it. You're not going to work anymore. I just came off of a really, really hard, almost 5-6 years at a long-term care facility that was one that should never have existed. It was a hard home to work, not because of the people, but just the mess they were in. And it was my job to fix the mess. And it was, oh my God, there was just one disaster after another that it was horrible. And so I was kind of fizzled out of food. I didn't have my mojo anymore. I didn't want to do the food part. So I said, sure. I said, I don't know if I could last 2 years, but I will give you 2 years to kind of see where I'm at. The first year was pretty easy, but we were amassing a large amount of syrup. And I don't, because my daughter has, I call it up syndrome. She has a thick tongue. And most of those kids leave it out of their mouth. My daughter has never done that. So some things we just don't eat. And that is one of them, because it usually goes on pancakes or something that she can't really eat. And so I eat a lot of nuts. And when you buy them at the store, they are typically in the end stage of their freshness. That's why you'll find people say walnuts are bitter. You can just look at the coloring in the package. They're handled wrong, they're packaged wrong. There's a whole mess of badness that happens, but raw is typically what I would eat. But after a while, you get kind of sick of all that sort of stale nuts, I'm going to say, or not really fresh. And so I started fooling around with the syrup. I created a patented process. I just got an official word that it is patented, that I use the syrup as a preservative, not a sweetener. That's why my nuts are never candied, never. Yeah. And I just developed a roasting process that goes along with that, that is so outside the box from what anybody else is doing, but it allows me to use fresh fruits and vegetables. So I don't have an ingredient you can't read. It's all processed on my farm. I either grow it or someone else does. And that's how I sort of started. I started with a basic, maybe 4 basic flavors, 3 different nuts. I was growing some nuts on this farm. I discovered them on my rounds, but we didn't start planting our trees until 2013. And really, I was going to put 4 or 5 and just have them for myself. And my husband, again, sort of jokes, now he won't really joke with me, said, why 4 or 5? Why not 30, 40? So the first year we put 150. I have to date 550, but I have another 400, I guess, coming.
Wow, that's incredible.
Planting.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm really happy to hear of the success. And so you started the business, what year did you say?
2013.
13. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. So you've been at it now for about 8-9 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So well established. You have a wide variety of flavors. And I know, like, you just walked through, just before we hit the record button, you were walking through your kitchen, your big commercial kitchen there that you have on the farm, and you were in the middle of doing some R&D here today. So tell me a little bit about how you approach R&D.
Okay, so normally what happens, like for all the flavors that I've had right now, the vision or how you want to do it plays out like a symphony. I put the ingredients together in my head like I'm writing a score of music. That's about how people think I'm a wizard or scientist, or I don't know, but I play it out in my head because our nuts are designed so that you experience every flavor. So we have a new one that I did over 2021. It was going to be called orange creamsicle, but I'd be arrested for using that. There's a trademark on both popsicle and creamsicle, and probably orange, I don't know. So it's an orange vanilla cream, but it reminds you of like running after the ice cream truck for that popsicle. That same envision, that's what I have playing in my head, but I need the ingredients to come together to create that wording, exactly that vision of your youth. I want that story to play out, and I believe food should play a story. The flavor should build, and you shouldn't be masking anything. You should just enhance and bring out and invoke a story. And so that's how I work it in my head. And then I just roast. So I don't do 5 pounds or 1 pound or a little boop, boop, boop. I do 30, 40 pounds when I'm R&Ding. But I think there's a new movement
Yeah.
that's been hidden. I believe there's a new movement coming out, and if you're a foodie and you don't jump on it, something's wrong. Something's wrong. We have been flat. Wanted to be in food so much because I find it an artistry. I find you play with, someone made some kind of food that touches your palate, that invokes a mojo, a story that will dance in your head, and you pair what you do best and you just dance. So I found 2 ladies that I don't want them to go co-packing. I don't want them to get in that round. There is a place, but I don't want them to lose their story. Each of their sauces play a story and just dance. And wow, if you don't get that warm something going through your body, I don't know.
Well, being a little nuts would be on brand if that was actually the case. But yeah, so when you walk through the kitchen, you exploded in just excitement with the senses, the way the
It's
smells are
just
putting off your
coming on
senses.
your body. It just is dancing. Their story is playing. My story is playing. It is magic. And it's what I do best, but it's why I do nuts, because I can play, I can create, I can do all those things. And actually, this is the first R&D that I'm actually not the roaster. Over 2021, 20 and 2021, I hired someone to fit in my thing. As we all were, we were under stress, and I was in stress mode. I never burn nuts. I never have. And when I burned 2 trays, it was either drop the business or walk away.
Wow.
But I needed someone to fit seamlessly between me and my dancing in my head, and someone who could use paint their own vision, but we would stay true to what's supposed to happen.
Yep.
There's recipes, there's tried and true. I mean, there are recipes, but how a kitchen works isn't all about that. You have to feel the environment. You have things happen in ovens. It's not like baking a cake. You need to feel and sense and taste and just be in the zone. So I actually hired someone who was fantastic for that.
Awesome.
So, and I don't want to lose her, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, when it comes to the R&D that you're doing right now, it sounds like it's a collaboration, though. The flavors are coming from the sauce ladies. And
well,
so
the flavors are from the sauce ladies. Now, I could play out their ingredients my own way.
Mm-hmm.
The problem, I don't want to do that because I need my story to actually blend. And since their ingredients are in the same realm as mine, where we are whole ingredients, readable ingredients, no fakeness, no nothing. They're in the gluten-free, which means I can RD for sure in my kitchen. Yeah, and they are old school. I don't know if I could recreate. I mean, I could come close. I could mimic that, but that wouldn't be true. That wouldn't be true to the story I want to tell.
Yeah.
So it's my nuts and my dance and symphony with their dance. So you will get all of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. And so is that how you usually approach the flavors, is through collaboration, or are you typically?
Nope.
No, this is
This is my first collaboration. I typically will get ingredient like Madagascar vanilla for my vanilla cream. did some research. I knew that was the one I wanted to use. I knew that you can use the whole bean. Most regular individuals only take the pod and open it and shoop, but you're missing so much more flavor when you use the whole pod.
Oh yeah.
So luckily for me, I met two beautiful women who do all things Madagascar vanilla, from having their own pods, which I get, to they've done powders, they've done sugar, they've done vanilla essence. Yeah, so they've done some incredible things. I just needed the pods. So some ingredients I have to get that way. Most of the rest is processed by me. So I'll grow some pumpkins, and we use that raw pumpkin on our nuts, the one you just showed. But in terms of a collaborative wanting to dance, this would be my first one. But the flavors are just so raw to want to be flat again and just take their recipe and do my thing with that. No, I don't want to do that. So I do take their ingredients and I process it sort of, but yeah, I want that story. I want that story.
Yeah, it's beyond just the nuts. It's beyond the process. You have such passion, and I just love the way that you describe everything as music and dance. And at the very beginning, before we started to record this episode, you were sharing with me that you feel that there's a movement underfoot, and that there's this mashup of, I think you were saying, country and rap and stuff. Talk to me a little bit about that. Where you think things are going.
I think that, much like me, as you can tell, I'm jazzercised. I think we are moving back, or it's coming out of the rubble of COVID-19. I don't know. I don't know where these people have been. I am telling you that at the show, it was a sea of multiculturalism, where old school flavors are just being ramped into sort of a street fight. I from the Asian market that's going up in Toronto, with the individual stalls just going to be pumping out some ancient foods with a new street vibe, where there's going to be dancing and music and arts just pooling together. That's what's going to happen with these foods. I mean, not the same old, I don't want to say hot sauces, but or same old nuts that you like that are in the grocery store. Okay, great. They're roasting them. They're dry roasting them. Here's the bag. Let's change the color this year to pale colors like aquamarine and pale blues. And if you look now, every grocery store is a sea of all those colors. Every business is on that trend to jump in those bags. For what? 2 more years? They're going to pop those bags off, and you're going to have to go to God knows what color or what change. But why? Who made those standards that we have to stay in that flat pigeonhole? There's just so much more than a grocery store. People don't need the grocery stores to find an excitement with food and flavors. That's what's coming. That's what's coming. So if you're looking at music, it would be, I mean, look at rap and country. They've been blending for the last 2 years to be all around. I mean, Miley Cyrus sings it all, right? So food can do that too. The magic of chefing went somewhere where we don't do it, we don't, I mean, we don't need to make those little dishes and make it pretty to make our art, although that's great with a schmear here. But we need something new, and I think that is coming. I mean, I get it. Plant-based was everywhere, but who set that plant-based trend? Grocery stores, right? So now everything has the label plant-based, plant-based, plant-based. I mean, how can like breaded jalapenos not be plant-based? It already was plant-based, or you got a plant-based cookie. But if you're using oats and flour and water to make those cookies, it's plant-based. How, like, so I get it. I get it. Or why couldn't a nut? I mean, that's also I'm working on some of that too, but a nut be the next chip, where instead of at a table, you have a bowl of nuts with a bowl of some dip, and I got you covered with, take my chipotle pecan and scoop that dip up. Why? Why not?
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing.
That's what I'm talking about. Outside the box.
Yeah.
We don't need grocery stores to tell us what our trends are going to be.
Yeah. So how does one an entrepreneur then who sees this emerging, right? So you see this on the horizon. How do you take advantage of that? How do you monetize that? How do you extend your business into this new trend, this new realm?
You got to bring it to, I mean, all of my stores across Canada, I've never pitched. I've never pitched to a store. I got a 5-star hotel in Halifax, has my nuts in their room service. I didn't pitch it. They got a bag. They liked it. They called me. I said, great. I have a relationship with all of those people because we shared nuts. I just recently did a pitch. I got shot down because they didn't like my name. I almost went down the rabbit hole, and that is, I will tell don't go down the rabbit hole. Why? You made that product for a reason. You chose that name for a reason. Own it. Own it. Don't let someone change you or change how you make it, or just don't. And if you don't make it to Sobeys or Farm Boy or Metros or Loblaws, you aren't losing anything. Across this country, there's enough small grocery chains, maybe 3 stores, butcher shops, cheese shops, basket shops across this country that would take you and know your worth. You need to know your worth. Yeah, I almost went down that rabbit hole, but I've acquired all my stores across this country by someone getting a bag.
That's amazing. Yeah. So the product speaks for itself, obviously. And so the passion that you have is poured into every one of these packages.
Yes.
And like you were saying, like I've never tasted nuts as fresh as this. Like it's a different experience than what most people would have, having had, nuts in the past, nut type snacks.
And I don't take away, I'm never going to, I don't compete with the other roasters. We are like, I mean, I know some try to do the same as me. They can't, they don't have my recipe, and really I've patented the process. So I could potentially, but that's not me. There are people who like that old way of fried and ingredients we can't read. And those nuts have a place. There is a nut for everyone. There is a place. And if mine aren't on the shelf there and you're looking for them in there and I'm not there, I'm sorry. I don't need to be in there. I don't need to sell my soul to get in there. Yeah. And I don't need to change. So yeah, I put passion in every nut. I make sure they're guaranteed. We are hands-on, we hand roast, we hand bag. We are not automated. I play the story of the nut. If I tell you and I give you a mojito jalapeno pecan, I need you to feel those ingredients as you're eating them.
Yeah.
People will say you candy just because of the word maple, but that is a fallacy. I don't candy my nuts. My nuts are meant to be used to enhance your food, to enhance your salads, make salad dressings with them, crust a fish with them, do something incredible. That's what they're for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and they definitely are incredible. And so thank you for sharing your story and giving us a sneak peek into, just your approach to life and to your business and everything. It's just absolutely beautiful, Elizabeth. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
that. So if somebody wanted to get there,
in any business, you really have to like getting up every
yeah,
day.
yeah,
If you're not liking getting up, you need to change. Get out now. Don't go through life with that big heavy sigh on your body. You, especially after COVID, man, come out. Let's party. You have to try these nuts. They are jammed, man. Jammed, I'm telling you. Nobody has these. Nobody makes them. Well, nobody makes them like me, but with these flavors, nobody. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you are near St. Clair, you're in Toronto?
No, I'm out in Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn, I'll give you some of these. I'll send you some, okay? Email me the address again. I will send you some of this RD.
Yeah.
So
I look
you
forward
can
to tasting that.
It's these two women. There's two women. They just got married in February. She was glowing with just love, just from the label to how they stage their sauces, the name of the sauce, the name of the company, but their story of persecution and comes out in the flavors. It's incredible. It's incredible. I've just still juiced. Sorry.
Can't wait to try them. And for those who do want to try the ones that you do have available for sale, they can access those on your website through Amazon Prime, I believe, as well, right?
Yep. So my website, Amazon Prime, has a bunch on. I'm in stores across Canada. You can find them there.
Yeah.
You can always email me, especially if the site is doing whatever it does and gets broken and who knows. You can order them through info@jewelsunderthekilt.com. We will take your order. We do deliveries all over. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And
great.
I truly love to share nuts. So when we're RDing, I'm giving them away. Well, I ship, I send, you name it, it goes to you, because everybody should have a nut. There's always a nut for somebody.
Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth. I really appreciate you taking the time today and sharing your story and your passion for nuts. And no wonder they call you the nut lady. So this is JewelsUnderTheKilt.com if you want to find out more information. And for those of you who love the episode and want to listen to or watch some of our other episodes, you can head over to our website, amplifyyourbusiness.ca. And that will get you over there where you're going to be able to see the full archive. And if you happen to be a business that has a unique and interesting story, there's a form on there, fill it out, and you could be a guest on a future episode of Amplify Your Business. Thank you again so much, Elizabeth. I just really, truly appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. And look for those nuts. They're coming.